If you want to work with limiting, but you want to have the output ceiling, if you like, the loudest possible moment that a limiter can produce be managed, so that effectively you can set what we call a brick wall limiter, literally a point above which we cannot go any higher from a volume perspective. Rather than using the limiter, you might instead choose to use the adaptive limiter. Now, this is the first processor you'll find listed alphabetically within the Dynamics folder, and this is very much a processor for the output stage of your project. It's going to introduce latency, it's going to limit the overall output level, and this is very much your kind of mastering limiter within Logic. So it's appropriate in a way that I've put it on the output channel here, so all of our drum mix can pass through this processor. So we've looked at the limiter already. This output limiter has one crucial difference, which is that we can set what's called an output ceiling. And it doesn't matter how much gain I throw at this processor, it simply isn't going to be allowed to get any louder than minus 0.1 or whatever output level I set here. That's entirely my choice. We've again got a look ahead limiter. This is going to allow, again, the signal to look into the future to see what's coming down the line from an audio perspective, so the adaptive limiter can respond. And we've got the all-important gain dial. Obviously, the more I turn this up, the more level effectively I'm boosting before the adaptive limiter has got to work out how to add that level whilst not exceeding the output. Now, it's absolutely worth saying that if I push gain really hard and at the same time set the output ceiling at a point where it can't distort, that doesn't mean that I won't get artifacts and sort of internal distortion in the signal as it desperately attempts to add volume. So if you're looking for a loud mix, don't make the mistake of just thinking, okay, well, I'll use the adaptive limiter, turn the gain up, set the output ceiling to maximum, and hey presto, it will be done. We need to be a bit more musical than that in terms of the way that we sort of go through. But nevertheless, this is absolutely a useful processor if you want at the mastering stage to be increasing at the same time as managing volume. And sure enough, even with 12 decibels of additional gain being added, the output ceiling is keeping those output levels under control. But it's really worth bearing in mind if you are working on a project and you've added the adaptive limiter to it, and you're wondering why, when you come to add a new part for your keyboard, there's a real latency issue between you playing notes and them speaking. It's because effectively what's happening here is that the adaptive limiter is buffering all of the audio coming in and giving itself time to work out how to process it through this look ahead control up here. So you'll find that it's really worth holding back on adding this processor to your project, either until the last moment or by setting up a dedicated mastering project into which you're taking your mixed file, which you've bounced down as an audio file. Think about this processor as being something that you add just at the last minute.